Welcome to It Starts With Courage podcast with Kat and Jen. What is it? It's everything. Everything you want in life starts with courage. I feel like everyone is so excited for this year, as we normally are at the start of the new year. Today, it's me here. Jen isn't with us. She's out today, but I have my good friend Taylor here. And as we were talking, it was that as each new year starts, whenever you start a new season, we're always so excited, and New Year's resolutions. We don't like to call them New Year's resolutions anymore. And I guess I don't like to call them New Year's resolutions anymore. I think I just like to look at it as, how are you improving to be a better you, the best you this 2022? Obviously, I'm in fitness.
A lot of people are.
Yes. I thought, you know what? Now would be a good time. It takes courage to start on a fitness journey, depending on your level of fitness, or, maybe you're just not that person maybe you're just that person who isn't into fitness at all,
Well, our listeners have no clue. Our viewers may know that I am not into fitness. And I'm not even going to act like I am. Mm-hmm. Like, I used to be an athlete, but that was used to, and it was a while ago. So we're just going to act like it's not real.
Delete.
The fun part about this is, because I'm not going to act like I do know about fitness much, I'm going to ask you some random questions that you have put together that you hear a lot.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Do you want to give any insight on these questions, why you picked these specific ones?
I picked these specific ones, not obviously, my page is called Insecure Fitness. So a lot of the questions that I tend to get from you guys are questions about things that you worry about when you go into a gym, when you're about to work out, or when you're making the decision to, take charge of your health. So those are the questions that I picked. And they're also questions that resonate with me, because they're questions I've asked myself as well at the beginning. And I think, I hope that this set of questions will encourage you a little bit more and give you that courage to just start. Just start. That's it. Just start. I'm not saying be perfect, because nobody ever starts off perfect. We all start somewhere. But it's the consistency and the persistence in the journey that gives you results.
Wow. I want to quote that. I think we need to remember that for sure.
Yes.
So let's get started then. And if you're listening now, again, I can't even act like I'm into fitness. So if you're listening and you're on that level and you haven't even started, I am you. You are me. We're in this together. Let's ask this person who's obviously very into fitness. It kind of defines who she is on social media. So let's get started. Okay. Let's go with, I'm going to go a little out of order from what you sent me, because I just want to start off with, to me, the one I'm probably most curious about. Mm-hmm. So crotch sweat.
Okay.
Is it normal? How can I stop it? Butt sweat, boob sweat. Let's just be honest.
Listen, ladies, sweat is normal, right? It's normal. It's how your body cools itself down. You get hot, it needs to release all of that. And I think one thing that we should think about as women, number one, yes, it is normal. I imagine it can be embarrassing. I remember times I would be in the gym.
I have an insert here. We are assuming it's all women, but we do have a male audience. So crotch sweat, butt sweat, how do we prevent it? Is it normal?
Sweat. Yeah. Most importantly, I think the biggest thing with this is that, aside from it being normal, it's embarrassing, or it can be embarrassing for us. You're working out, you may be looking super, super good, cute outfit, and you stand up from the leg press, and you've got this big I peed myself patch. And what do you do? Okay, there are several things. One thing you should think about, I think crotch sweat, now I've heard of guys talk about musty balls. So obviously they wear underwear. They wear underwear. So if you have something tight in that area where most times we have hair, your skin is rubbing against these tight clothes. Your body is just trying to cool down.
This is very intimate. All right, keep going.
I'm just saying, I hope you guys are not imagining people's sweaty balls.
I mean, you say it and everyone's mind goes there. It's okay though. Let's keep moving on.
Right. We're all adults here. At least I hope we are.
Sorry if we're not. Time to go have a talk with your parents.
Right. But anyway, so it's how your body's just going to cool down. So one way that you can combat a sweaty crotch is looser clothing. The tighter your clothes are, the more likely you are to see that sweat, right? So maybe on guys, we don't see it as much, even though their balls may be musty. We don't see it through the shorts because their shorts aren't right next to their skin. Whereas for us ladies who, you know, for me, for example, I like to wear the cute little outfits. Everything is tight. Your body's going to want to sweat. You can also look at sweat wicking underwear. So that's this.
That's a thing.
That's a thing.
Oh my goodness.
So what happens with sweat wicking technology?
Is this an ad?
I mean, does anyone with sweat wicking stuff want to sponsor me? Because, hello.
Plug. Okay, keep going. Because
anyway.
look at my Instagram, okay?
Right. Sweat wicking technology is basically going to draw out all that moisture and put it on the outside of the fabric. So, and basically so that it allows it to evaporate. So when you wear clothes, polyester, for example, it doesn't allow for that evaporation, for it to get rid of that sweat. And a lot of our fitness clothes are made out of spandex and polyester, hence crotch sweat, ladies and gentlemen. So say yes to cottons as well.
Love that.
Great for that. So yeah, it's normal.
Okay.
And there are ways to get around it if you're looking to, you know, go a little bit baggier, looser clothes, and look into that sweat wicking technology.
Also, let's just take from this that everyone obviously has it. So maybe you deal with it by not being embarrassed by it. Good for you.
And if you ever watch my lives, you will see that I have some heavy crotch sweat.
All right.
Yeah.
Noted. Okay. Moving on. Question number 2. How do you stay motivated?
How do I stay motivated? It depends on, like, I think motivation is one of the hardest things for all of us. For all of us to find, I don't want to work out every day. I've said this before. I don't want to work out every day. I don't wake up every day and I'm like, oh my gosh, let me get that work in. No, but you have to have a why that's big enough to keep you going. A why that's big enough to keep you going. Why are you working out? It shouldn't be just for now. It shouldn't be just for today. It shouldn't be just so that you look amazing in that little black dress that you have, or whether it's that suit that you have in the closet, guys. It really should be for your future. One of my sisters, sibling number 7, no, number
Love
6.
That. Okay.
Once said, when she was just talking about health, and this is for those of you who have children or people in general that rely on you, that if you don't take care of yourself, who else are you affecting? If you have children, imagine something was to happen to you today because of the way that you take care of your body. What about them, right? And that's not to make you feel guilty, but that's more to say, you are your home. Your body is your home. The same way that you take care of the inside of your house, making sure that it's clean, making sure that you refurbish it when it needs it, is the same way you should take care of your body.
Wow.
Because you want it to last.
Wow.
That's where the motivation comes from. And coming from the last couple of years that we've had, guys, we have seen that the healthier ones are the ones who got through this pandemic a bit better. So your health is really the only thing that is the most important that you have. It doesn't matter how much money you make. None of that matters. If these last couple of years have shown us anything, is that your health should be number one.
Wow. And I think that actually challenges me too. I'm turning 30 very soon.
Ooh,
and
flirty,
yep,
30, dirty,
yeah,
30. Whichever
and
30.
Whatever 30 I choose. With that being said, I've noticed every year that goes by that I'm not in shape, the more I actually think about my future body. So my mentality this year is actually like, hey, take care of it now so that you're set up for the future.
There we go.
Instead of waiting and all of a sudden I'm in the worst health of my life and I'm 40 and it's way harder for me to get back in shape.
There we go. And there's, I remember there was something I said in a previous podcast, which was really, even when you look at your health and the things that you eat now, is look at the food that you're eating right now as medicine. so that later on you don't have to take medicine to treat what you've been doing to your body now.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So eat food as medicine.
That's so good. Okay, let's move on. Another one, I get really frustrated with this one every time I start working out. And it is, I can't say it super often, but every time I've started working out, I ask this question all the time. Why am I not seeing progress?
Why are you not seeing progress? I think, in all honesty, it's about being honest with yourself. A lot of the times we say we're not seeing progress. One, there's two things. You're either not being honest with yourself, in my opinion, or sometimes it's that you don't know what to look for in terms of progress. For some people, we tend to think that progress is that scale, that number on the scale, making sure it goes down, forgetting that as you go through a fitness journey, depending on the exercises and the way that you're eating, it's about body recomposition. The same way that 100 pounds of fat is the same as 100 pounds of muscle, but look completely different. There are things like that. So I recommend taking progress pictures. What you look like this week will be different to how you look in 2 weeks. But if you don't know how you looked 2 weeks ago, how are you going to know where the changes have come, right?
That's great. So take progress pics.
Take progress pictures.
That's great.
We lose weight or our bodies change differently. Look at your clothes, right? Do your clothes fit any differently? But most importantly, are you being honest with yourself? Are you being honest on your journey?
Do you mean like, are you being honest about your efforts?
Yes.
Okay.
Your efforts and the way that you're eating. So a lot of times people will say, hey, I go to the gym for an hour every day. I've been working out, but I don't see any progress. What have you been eating? Or have you been eating, well during the day, and then at night you're like, oh yeah, I've done so well.
Totally.
Here's this bucket of ice cream and a big pudding. That's me. No, not always. But you see things like that. And when you make those excuses, you're going to be telling yourself, oh, I'm doing so well. The progress just isn't happening. And most times it's about being honest with yourselves and knowing how to look for progress.
That's great. Okay, moving on. Do I need to work out every day? And if I do, how long do I need to work out every day?
You see, that's a good one, and one that we ask, gets asked quite often. You don't need to work out every day. It's important for you to rest. I definitely recommend at least 2 days a week where you're fully rested. Now, when I say fully rested, I don't mean sit on the sofa and do absolutely nothing and just watch TV and eat everything that you missed out on. Stay active. Take a walk. It's called active rest, right? Stretch. You don't need to work out every day. It's kind of like if there has to be a balance between food and working out, of course, but you can also lose weight without working out. Working out, however, is recommended by WHO? World Health Organization, just in terms of keeping your cardiovascular going. If you are working out, strength training is a great tool to build muscle which will help you burn more calories as you rest. A good workout, it depends on what kind of workout you're doing. If you're doing something that's high intensity cardio, you don't have to do it for as long. It may be just 30 minutes and you're done. Whereas if you're strength training, that is lifting weights. Because you have to take longer rest periods, you may end up working out for an hour and a half. So it depends on your goals, how often you work out. But definitely, if I was to recommend, I would say try and get out there at least 3 to 4 times a week.
Thank you. There's 7 days. I can probably do 3.
Make a commitment to it. That's it.
And like you said, it really is about my goals.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay, here's one. I care about this because everybody carries fat in different areas all over their body.
Right.
So if, could you tell us maybe what type of exercises we should be doing for certain areas of our body, like our belly or arms?
Now, is this to reduce fat in those areas?
Yes.
So,
sure.
You can't just do an exercise to reduce fat in one specific area, because when you eat food, you don't say, hey, food, go to this specific area.
Right. That's not exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay, so I'm asking if I carry my fat in my belly.
Yes.
Right? if I carry it there, what type of exercises do I need to do to target that area to lose weight?
Okay, that's a good question. And I guess sometimes people...
I love how scientific you went on that first question there.
But I mean, there are scientific aspects to it. So there are some of us that believe that you can spot train and spot reduce fat. That is, I'm only going to do said exercise to lose fat on my belly or to lose fat. So you can't do that. It has to be... it's systemic. It's overall, right? It's going to affect your entire body. So you literally
Which
have to...
isn't a bad thing.
Which isn't a bad thing. However, there are different body types, right? You've got endomorphs, ectomorphs, mesomorphs.
You mumbled that one.
Yeah. But,
and something else, anyway.
Right. And this basically says where you hold your fat. So some of us hold our fat in our midsection. Some of us are bottom heavy, and some of us may just be overall just lean, straight. And the importance of this is if you go and have a look at what kind of body type you have, it definitely has some implications on what kind of diet you should follow. When it comes to macros is something that gets thrown out a lot in the fitness world, which is macronutrients, your proteins, your carbs, your fats, how much of this you're taking in based on your basal metabolic rate. That is how fast your body burns calories, and taking into factors things like your age, how active you are during the day. So depending on your body type, it tells you what percentage of proteins, carbs, etc. you should be eating to either lose weight or gain. So, that I can't tell you.
Right. So
but
basically...
we have to first figure out your kind of...
So you'd say do research on my type of body,
basically,
and what goals I have, and I think that's great.
Yeah,
I've done a little research, not enough to remember. So I'm going to ask you two more questions here. Okay. One is so my knees they crack every time I'm working out.
Okay,
and it's like firecrackers.
That's that 30.
Dirty 30.
That's that 30.
I know.
You know, they say once you turn 30, everything starts to go wrong.
Wow.
No,
Thank you
not
for
wrong.
manifesting that.
I meant everything just starts to
go wrong.
30 is the new 20, guys.
You have never been so negative. I've never heard you that way. Okay.
It's a joke.
So yeah, it's a joke, guys. So tell me, my knees crack. It sounds like fireworks sometimes.
Yeah.
Is that normal? What would you suggest when I'm working out? Or anyone if they have a problem area?
Yeah, I think that can be frightening for a lot of people when you hear things snap, crackle, and pop. Not something that you want to to hear, especially when you're working out. And it definitely can be frightening because you think you're injuring yourself. And it is normal to a certain extent. Now, if it's painful, that's a different story.
Like, let's talk about it if it's painful. This is not painful.
Okay, if it's not painful. Okay, so if it's not painful, that is normal. What you tend to have is your joints, whether it's your knees, your elbows, your ankle. You've sat there maybe and you've moved your ankle one way and it's popped. You've got synovial fluid that's in your joints, lubricates that joint in there, allowing the two different bones that join in that joint to move freely. And what tends to happen is sometimes you can get gases trapped in there, right? So when you move the muscle, and especially when the muscle around there is tight, you're going to hear those pops. It's that gas being released.
Let's not talk about that in this episode. Also, is that normal? Do people do that? I'm sure they do. I'm not in the gym enough.
Yeah.
I'm not there enough.
Right. But like what things you can do to sort of reduce that popping and crackling is make sure you do some active stretching, mobility exercises before, loosen up those muscles, and hopefully, and that should help some of those gases escape.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to the last one. Okay. This is one everybody I know has asked. So I have this big goal in 2022, or any time of the year that I need to get in better shape. How do I start?
By just starting. That's literally it. And, when you set these goals, don't set yourself up and say, hey, I am going to run 5 miles today. And just start small. Start where you are. If you're starting with some cardio, aim for 15, 20 minutes outside. Increase on that time as you go. Knock it down step by step. You don't have to, go big or go home. It's those little wins every day that, by the end, you had to set this goal for 5 miles. You may be there by the end of the month, by the end of 2 months, but take it at your own pace. Remember, the journey is personal. It's not about anybody else. It's not what so-and-so is lifting, how far they're running, how fast they're running. It's about you and doing it safely and doing it in a way where you can stick with it, right? You don't want to start on an eating plan or, an eating lifestyle that that you don't like, you're not happy with, it makes you miserable. Find ways to incorporate the foods that you like. Make it fun. If it means making the fitness fun, do it. Take dance classes. Just start moving. Start off small. As I always say, start where you are with what you have and make it happen.
Thank you so much. That is very encouraging. Guys, we'll do another episode like this soon. We'd love to hear any questions you may have about your fitness journey that you would like to ask Catherine of Insecure Fitness. Shameless plug there. It's been an honor to be here with you. Thank you for talking to me about fitness.
Thank you for joining me today, Taylor. Absolutely amazing doing this with you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of It Starts With Courage podcast with Kat and Jen. If you like this episode of the podcast, visit our website, iswcpodcast.com, for show notes and other cool things.